Mikhail Bulgakov's The Master and Margarita. Knowledge and Culture, and the Joy Beyond Them. Mikhail Bulgakov's The Master and Margarita. There are countless books in the world. Sometimes, books may feel too difficult or dull, making us reluctant to pick them up. Especially when confronted with the words knowledge or culture, we might feel inadequate. However, reading is not an old-fashioned academic pursuit. It is a magical experience that transports us to entirely different worlds. Today, I want to introduce you to a book that will open the door to this magic. Mikhail Bulgakov's The Master and Margarita. This book will destroy all boundaries you imagine, offer laughter and shuddering insights, and pose profound questions about life and humanity. 1. The beginning of a story that upends common sense. What exactly is The Master and Margarita? When you first open its pages, you'll likely be amazed. The setting is Moscow in the 1930s. On a hot summer day, two literary men debate the existence of God and the historicity of Jesus by a pond. Suddenly, a foreigner in his prime bursts into their conversation, Professor Woland, who introduces himself as a master of the black arts, and his strange companions. They are none other than Satan and his demons. Particularly captivating is the giant black cat, Behemoth, who can talk. This arrival plunges Moscow into chaos and mischief. They rain money like rain from a theater stage, strip people of their clothes, and even send those who accuse them to mental hospitals. These bizarre events are not merely silly comedies. Bulgakov uses these magical farcical episodes to sharply satirize the hypocrisy, corruption, greed, and foolishness of Soviet society. Watching people rejoice at the sudden appearance of free money, only to despair when it turns into paper, or seeing them take pleasure in the suffering of others or chase their own selfish interests. These scenes reflect not only the Moscow of decades ago but also mirror our own world across time. Reading this book will lead you to ask yourself, if these were Satan's doings, why do human actions seem so similar? 2. The mirror of human nature. The world through the eyes of the devil. The madness caused by Woland and his entourage goes beyond mere entertainment. They reveal the deepest, most hidden desires and hypocrisies of people. The sight of Moscow citizens taking bribes, lying, and betraying others for their own benefit is far more terrifying than the demons themselves. Bulgakov, through the eyes of the devil, coldly portrays how weak and foolish human beings can be. Yet this book does not simply criticize and mock humanity. Satan is sometimes depicted as the entity that delivers the most fitting judgment. Tyrants are executed, the greedy receive their due punishment, and those consumed by vanity suffer humiliation. Ironically, at times, Satan seems the most perfect embodiment of justice. This challenges the simplistic binary of good and evil we often perceive, prompting us to question, is justice only legitimate when carried out in the name of God? Or could a justice realized through the hands of the devil also hold value? This book shakes readers' preconceived notions with these uncomfortable yet fascinating questions. 3. The artist's suffering and the power of truth. The Master's story. The Master and Margarita also follows another important subplot: the tragic life of an unnamed author known as the Master. He writes a novel about Pontius Pilate and Jesus but is harshly criticized by the rigid literary establishment and critics. Eventually, his novel remains unseen by the world. Overcome with despair, he burns his manuscript and is institutionalized. The Master's story reflects Bulgakov's own experiences. During Stalin's time, he endured harsh censorship and oppression, with his works not only unappreciated but also suppressed. In the Soviet Union, only literature that suited the government's taste was considered correct, and free artistic expression was suppressed. The scene where the Master's manuscript is burned dramatically illustrates the artistic frustration and pain Bulgakov faced. Yet here we encounter one of the book's most famous lines: "Manuscripts don't burn." This is a powerful message: true art that contains truth can never be destroyed. Though the Master's novel is burned, it is eventually restored to the world with the help of Margarita and Woland. This declares that no power can permanently imprison genuine artistic spirit and truth. It is a moment of great encouragement and hope for all artists and intellectuals across all eras. 4. Love, Sacrifice, and Salvation. Margarita's journey. Another thread in this novel is the story of Margarita, the woman who deeply loves the master. When the master vanishes into despair, Margarita desperately searches for him and even accepts Satan's offer. She becomes the queen of the great ball, not to claim power for herself, but to retrieve her beloved. Margarita is not a passive victim. She is a brave and strong woman willing to sell her soul for love. Her performance as queen of the great ball before many dead souls is awe-inspiring. When given the chance to make a wish, she first asks to relieve the suffering of another poor woman, showing her pure heart and genuine compassion. Even the devil is moved by her kindness. Ultimately, Margarita is reunited with the master through the power of love, and together they escape into Satan's world of eternal peace. Margarita's journey shows the power of love that endures hardship and adversity, and how that love can save a soul and bring hope. Her journey makes us contemplate the true meaning of love and sacrifice and how they can transform the world. 5. An unending tale. Pontius Pilate and Jesus. In addition to the Moscow narrative and the love story of the Master and Margarita, the Master and Margarita includes an independent story, the trial of Jesus of Nazareth, called Yeshua HaNatzri, and Pontius Pilate in ancient Jerusalem. This story contrasts Yeshua's pure, transcendent teachings with Pilate's internal conflict and eventual cowardly choice. Pilate, despite knowing Yeshua is innocent, succumbs to the pressure of the crowd and Jewish leaders for his safety and power, sentencing Yeshua to crucifixion. His cowardice leaves him with eternal guilt and suffering. Bulgakov uses this narrative to deeply explore how easily humans can become weak before power, abandon truth, and the heavy price of such decisions. While these three stories appear separate, they are remarkably interconnected. The chaos in Moscow mirrors Pilate's inner turmoil, and the master's artistic struggles parallel Yeshua's misunderstanding by the world. All these stories collectively explore universal themes: human nature, good and evil, truth and falsehood, courage and cowardice, and love and salvation, providing readers with deep resonance. 6. Questions for our lives. Insights from reading. The Master and Margarita is not merely a novel. It is a powerful mirror reflecting ourselves and the world we live in, and at times, a sharp blade delivering critiques. Through this book, we can ask ourselves the following questions. What is true value? Observing the greed and vanity of Muscovites and the artistic integrity the master defends, we are prompted to consider which is more important, material or spiritual values. How free are we before power? Pilate's tragic choice challenges us to reflect on how vulnerable we can become under power and pressure, and how we might preserve our conscience within it. Does truth really endure? The message that truth and art ultimately triumph encourages us to trust and maintain courage amid countless falsehoods and distortions we face in life. What power does love and forgiveness hold? Through Margarita's devoted love and Pilate's eventual peace, we come to understand the most powerful force that can save and heal humanity. Are the boundaries of good and evil truly clear? Seeing Woland, the devil, sometimes realize justice makes us reflect on how complex and relative the concepts of good and evil can be, and how we cannot judge the essence of a world merely by appearances. The Master and Margarita might not be a book that reads easily, but it will likely become one of the most fascinating and profound stories you encounter. Though it initially pulls readers in with its surreal and bizarre narrative, it ultimately raises fundamental questions about human nature and life, leaving a lasting impression. If you feel hesitant to read due to a lack of knowledge or cultural background, I strongly recommend you take a bold step and challenge yourself with this book. It won't be a dull text but a great artistic experience that will stimulate your imagination and broaden your horizons. This book will sometimes make you laugh heartily, sometimes pain you deeply, and at times immerse you in deep thought. Let yourself be enchanted by its magic, and your perspective on life and the world will become richer and deeper. Reading itself is the highest form of culture, and The Master and Margarita is one of the best keys to unlocking that culture.